who forced their way in. I can't tell you that you can do that. What an idiot dispatcher, even in Oklahoma. You think they'd know better. But you do what you have to do to protect your baby, the dispatcher told her, according to ABC News. The young mom fired when Justin Martin, 24, who was wielding a 12-inch knife, kicked his way through the door. I guess he thought this was Chicago or New York, where everybody's disarmed except the criminals. I mean, you start busting your way into my house, I'm not going to call, and I'm only going to make sure that you're not, you know, some family member in an emergency. I'm going to say, who is that? And if you don't answer and you keep coming through, I'm opening up with a shotgun. I mean, you are deader than a hammer. I got a 7-round semi-auto, baby, and you are dead, dead, dead. I got one of the shotguns they board ships with. I think I'm going to buy the one with a big old ring on it. That's it. I'm buying the biggest riot shotgun there is. I haven't bought guns in a couple years. I think I'm going to go buy like 20 guns this week or something. Everybody else is doing it. I'm going to go buy massive loads of ammo, too. I'm going to go clean out a shop. The problem is I'm always so busy and leave here so late the gun shops are closed. I just need more guns because they hate it when I buy guns. Buy guns, buy guns. By the way, we're pretty much sold out on sponsorship on InfoWars and Prisonplanet. We ought to, frankly, raise the rates because we need to fund some new operations. But when you're sold out, you're supposed to do that. But the guys like to have the lowest prices out there. The point is that the only thing we don't have is gun sponsors. I mean, if you are a gun seller, here we are. I want to check you out, make sure you're great. I want to get behind you. So contact us at advertising@infowars.com.
We're on the march.
Okay, Chris in Illinois, Dominique in Illinois, Donna in New Hampshire, Mark in Oregon, and others we're going to get to you. We're waiting for Julio to send us the audio of the soldier. He was there and interviewed him who got cut off by CNN. We're going to play that clip when he gets us the MP3. It hasn't come through yet. And then play what the guy actually said versus what CNN put on air. That's coming up at the end of the show if we end up getting it on time. If not, it'll be on the nightly news this evening. We're going to have a very special nightly news tonight. That's all I'm going to say. We've got some special guests and things, but we're going to have a lot of key news covered. And some fun occasionally. Different characters pop up on the nightly news, kind of break in. So to the transmission, we're getting with the season of having Homeland Security, you know, pop in and take over the program. I mean, they're actually doing that now for real, so we've got a little bit of a joke this evening. InfoWars Nightly News. You can find out more at prisonplanet.tv. We have a 15-day free trial subscription right now to prisonplanet.tv. But for the next 4 or 5 minutes, I noticed that gold is up, I don't know, 70-something bucks since it hit bottom a few weeks ago. And I wanted to get Ted's take on why that's happening. Ted of Midas Resources, one of our longtime sponsors and also the owner of this network. Ted, what is going on right now with precious metals, and how does China and India moving towards new currencies tie into this?
Well, I mean, right now, China is one of the biggest buyers in the marketplace. I mean, they've really increased their commitment to what they want to buy. As a matter of fact, they're trying to make deals with several of the major mines out there to try to buy all of their production, which is taking a lot of that away. But what's really going on, Alex, is this European crisis. I mean, the United States, the Federal Reserve has pumped so much money into our central banks that they're sitting on so much cash that's helped keep the reserve, the crises from completely falling apart in Europe. But right now, that's all printed money. It's starting to show up. We're starting to see the inflation come back again. We hit about 1550. Right now, we're sitting at 1613 gold, and we've seen a high today. Here, let me just take a quick peek here. I just want to refresh. We've seen a high, we're sitting at 1614, seen a high today of 1619.90, 1592.50 on the low. But that's starting to come back up again, and it's reflecting the fact that there's so much problem going on over in Europe. And the very fact that we've solved our problems from printing money and creating these big deposits in the central banks, basically to bail out the buddies and the friends of the central banking system here.
Ted, let me ask you this question. You and others predicted that they could raise margin calls in the speculative gold market, the paper market, to lower prices and kill speculation. They've done that to an extreme degree. They also created uncertainty with the MF Global heist in commodities across the board, but we see oil and other commodities ticking back up. When you have central banks worldwide making the announcement that they're going to have concerted, accelerated devaluation, not just gold and silver, but every other commodity, it stands to reckon, are going to go up. But what other tricks does the establishment have to drive down gold and silver, which they know when it's valuable and has high prices, discredits and competes with their fiat Ponzi scheme money?
Well, that's the thing. Since they've taken a lot of leverage away from the futures market, which usually drives the price of gold. I mean, when people look at spot gold, when I'm quoting $614.50, that's the settling price of contracts that are expiring right now at this moment, and that's what the delivery would be at this very second. It used to be 10% down to leverage 100% of the goods. Well, now it's 20% down to leverage 100%. So they can raise that reserve requirement even higher, but they've already knocked a lot of the speculators away. They're just doing their best. I mean, the central banks of the world also hold some of the largest reserves that there is in physical gold. They have it mostly stored in New York City, and they have these lease deals that they have with the futures market, and they can raise and lower their lease rate for which they charge in order to sell their gold into the futures market. But that's really about what they have left. It's all smoke and mirrors. Right now they're heavily relying on the printing press to keep the economy pulled together. It would be better if it blew apart, especially for Ron Paul, because he would be just proven right again, and the people in Iowa obviously would pay more attention to Ron Paul. But anyways, setting that aside, there's just so much chicanery that's going on. I mean, you just simply cannot print money without having a devaluation of the currency itself. Like you said, they're trying to manipulate the prices of gold down by raising the reserve requirements, making it more difficult to trade in the futures market, but the physical market is picking up right where it lets off, and that's where you're seeing places like China getting involved. I mean, literally many, many times, it's like 22 times as much gold purchased in 2011 than there was in 2010. So, I mean, the market is definitely European, and also in the Far East is growing for gold and silver. Yet here you see the dollar strong today, sitting at roughly around $80, and the foreign currencies are falling. But the only reason why that's happening is because the crisis that's happening in Europe is more scary than the crisis that's happening in the United States.
Yeah, but basically the United States, most analysts say, is sitting on an even bigger unsustainable derivative debt, and we've been tricked to think that it's our own personal or even government debt, even though the 15+ trillion that is owed is now 100.3% of yearly GDP. So debt has now yearly outstripped the GDP of the entire country, exactly where the bankers wanted to get us. So now it's time to start our implosion, and the very criminals that did it will now dance around and say that they're our saviors. I see this as a gold and silver buying opportunity. As you know, I've got a little bit of silver and a little bit of gold, over the years, get a little bit here, a little bit there. This is an emergency backup, but I think now is the time to get involved. In the minute or two we've got left, Ted, tell the radio listeners about some of the specials you're offering. And we're almost out of the book, Big Brother, The Orwellian Nightmare Come True. You get that free, and the film exposing the banking cartel that's excellent, American Dream. You get both those free when you get $3 silver at cost, ladies and gentlemen. That banner's at Infowars.com at the right-hand top corner. You can also go to MidasResources.com and find it, or you can call and get it, 800-686-2237. 800-686-2237. You're not going to find a better price on the silver anywhere. And then you get free shipping and 2 free gifts on top of it, because Ted wants to have this as a lost leader to introduce you to gold and silver. But if you're really serious about it and want to protect yourself, I think the best move for myself personally is gold and silver. And I think right now is a buying opportunity. Ted's got quite a bit of gold and silver he's amassed. I know he buys when it goes down. Now, even though it's gone up some, he can still give you the older price. Ted, what are some of the best deals you've got? Tell folks about it.
Well, I mean, the Walking Liberty half right now is at $14.37. That's a wonderful buy. I mean, they were close to $20 when silver was back up at $50. I also have the Lakota Nation round at $37.01. Franks right now are at $3.52. We buy a full year subscription to the International Forecaster. If you only buy one, I don't think you'll find that deal out there. That's like less than $1,000 an ounce when you factor in the price of the subscription. You know, I've got a few of those Campaign for Liberty proofs. It's not going to be much. If somebody wants volume there, forget it. But I would suggest that you get involved with that. It's one more way to spread the word about Ron Paul. That deal with the video and the silver dollars, Alex, you know, that's what people really need to be getting involved with, because that video explains the banking system. It really goes in, it dives into how money came into existence in the first place. And until you understand that concept, you're not going to be able to answer these economic questions that are happening right now. Why are we in the situation that we're in? Why are the Europeans standing there protesting outside while the governments are trying to back down and pull in their budgets? You know, why is Germany trying to get out of the EU? Because they can't trust the...
undoubtedly we're sitting on top of powder keg, and all the elites are moving out of paper so fast it'll make your head spin. Folks, give Midas Resources a call today. 800-686-2237, the truly trusted name in precious metals for now, I guess more than 15 years, but Ted's been in the business 30 plus. I was looking around for a gold and silver sponsor 15 years ago and found Ted Anderson and bought some gold and silver myself. And just over the years, they are the most competitive out there. That's why Ted is now the 4th or 5th biggest gold and silver dealer in the U.S. You see his ads nationally on television because he's so competitive. 800-686-2237. Ted Anderson, thank you so much for popping in with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me up, Alex.
You bet. Here's that number if you missed it, 800-686-2237. Now, Julio's computer's on the fritz, the guy that said he was going to send us the clip. But we're going to have it for the nightly news tonight. He's trying to send us the MP3 of his full interview with the military gentleman who was on CNN, and they cut the feed. Now, if this was an accident, you know, maybe. But I've seen it too many times on C-SPAN and CNN. When something like this gets said, the same thing happens. And I have another report here in D.C. They started bringing up corruption and ethics investigations in the feed cut. That's out of the Washington Examiner. And it was also on local ABC News. WTOP covered it. So, I mean, this stuff's happening more and more. Which shows the system is concerned about exposure. In fact, we have that clip ready. Here is that clip. CNN pulls the plug on live feed of soldier talking about voting for Ron Paul. The soldier starts explaining how preemptive war is the greatest danger, and the feed is cut. Here it is.
Well, I'm really excited about a lot of his ideas, especially when it comes to bringing the soldiers home. I've been serving for 10 years now, and all 10 years of those have been during wartime. I'd like to see a little peacetime army, and I think he has the right idea.
Now, you have done 2 tours in Afghanistan. You told me you're going to go back for a 3rd tour. I mean, if you can see your neck right there, what you have on your tattoo, 9/11, remember, and a picture of the Twin Towers. You know, some Republicans out there have been saying that Ron Paul would be very dangerous for this country because he wants to bring troops like you back from your post from all over the world.
Well, I think it would be even more dangerous to start nitpicking wars with other countries. Someone like Iran, Israel is more than capable of.
All right, we just lost our connection, unfortunately, with Dana. Dana, stand by. If you can hear me, we're going to get back. You want to go to Kenny Crowley over at...
By the way, again, I don't have some fetish up here bashing Israel.